Well, it's also just a basic human decency thing. If someone expresses an opinion, the worst human beings in the world are going to be the ones who express the hope that you get murdered or raped or like anything. Sure. I hope your family gets run over by a truck. It's just the worst kind of human beings.
Yeah.
And that is with any disagreement on anything. The rational, logical thing to do, someone says, I'm embarrassed that that's my president, is to say, why you disagree or why you think that's not a good thing to say. But to hate the person and to wish harm on the person for expressing an opinion is just because you're a fucking idiot. Your perspective sucks.
It's just so out of whack.
Yes.
It's so warped, and I don't think cancel culture is any different. You take someone, let's say you made a bad joke once. People they want you to it's not about the apology. They want your career ruined. And so you look at someone like Harvey Weinstein. That man should be in jail because what he did to so many women was horrific. One guy touches a woman by accident. Actually, I take that back because that never happens. One person says something. They say they're sorry. I think oftentimes the punishment outweighs the crime.
Well, it does today because there's sport in it. There's sport in trying to take someone down.
Yes.
There's sport in trying to ruin someone's life. And there's also a lot of people out there that don't have anything going on. And which is always the people that do things like this. It's not someone who's got their life in order that starts some sort of a campaign to cancel someone for a bad joke. It's usually someone who's a fucking loser.
Absolutely. And then what happens is it becomes this overcorrect. There are people who deserve to be canceled for doing terrible things over and over. But nobody ever thinks they did anything wrong. So then you get this other side that's like, oh, if a guy looks at a woman wrong, he's going to get canceled. I used to think no one was getting canceled who didn't deserve it. But the more we move into this cancel culture, the more I start to ask, like, if somebody does one thing wrong that really, that hurts no one, or they write a joke, or they say something, or they, hit on a woman, right? Well, is it a pound of flesh that's owed? Is it your whole life?
Yeah.
Is it money?
Well, it's like,
what's
are you
owed?
Defined by your worst moment? And
I believe so.
Does that negate? Well, it depends on what your worst moment is.
Right.
Shoot up a school for sure.
Yes.
If your worst moment is a bad joke, no. It's the sport of it. That's the problem. And it's also navigating this newfound power that people have through the internet. What comes with this great power is great responsibility, but there's no responsibility to people that can just attack people online. And they enjoy it, and they enjoy it from the anonymity of their own bubble, and they're tweeting and, or whatever they're doing.
You're absolutely right.
And it's navigating this new power and navigating this new world that we live in, where cancel culture type things that people look for them. They're looking for a nail because they have a hammer. If you give someone a big box of rocks and there's a window there, there's a very strong urge to throw a rock at that window. And it's very rare that someone takes like this compassionate, charitable view of another human being and just goes, people make mistakes. And the most important thing is that we all try to do better, that everybody tries to do better in their life. I
think people say that, and then when it comes to whatever their agenda is, they forget about that. And I understand rage, and I understand hurt, but I don't think people understand context. And I think because you say hurt people, I think people feel so powerless and so angry.
Yeah.
So you grab onto whatever you can grab onto, and I think we just have to be careful in rallying those troops. I think of the petulant internet masses, and I do talk about this in my book. I think of them as like zombies. Like in every movie, it's always like, be quiet, because you don't want the zombie to like feel your warmth or hear you. And that's, whatever if you can just say nothing and sustain and maintain, if you truly did like nothing really wrong, they'll move on.
Yeah.
But if you've ever argued with someone in a comment section, that attracts more of them.
Of course. Well, also they have your attention.
Right.
And they think that because you're a public person, you have some sort of an advantage in life that you shouldn't have. They want to attack you no matter what. Right. Like, if you're a public person, your fans will chime in and say, no, we love her, fuck you. But most people who don't know you that are hopping into the fray are doing it with the idea that they're going to destroy something.
That is destroy something beautiful. And it's this idea of like, it's so delicious to destroy something. The Schadenfreude of watching someone get wrecked because they have something you want or you feel they owe you something.
People love that.
Everybody has receipts on someone else, and everybody has something that they wish they could do differently or take back. And there's just we don't allow for context. We don't allow for conversation. And that's on the left and the right. And it's just in general. What if you had a fulfilling life? Like, it's one thing if somebody has multiple civil rights infractions and you're like, look, this person systemically has done awful things at their company. But what if you had a fulfilling life and a goal and a passion and something else? Would you spend your whole life trying to ruin other people?